We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
And from the border of liberty and prosperity and the highway to the north, this is Safety Wars for Thursday, April 18th, 2024. How's everybody doing there? Make sure we're on the air. Always have a cell phone. What's going on in the background here? How's everybody doing tonight? Feels like winter returned, or at least November returned here in the New York City area. Between the rain and the wind, and everything else going on today, I mean, it was brutal. I actually had to go into the truck and put on a heavy-duty winter sweatshirt. I put away all the winter clothing. Now, I think, we had 60 and 75-degree days out here recently, and spring has sprung, and then we get this. What a nightmare. Anyway, took a while for the video stream to kick in here, so let me just say, all the reports we have, everyone's innocent until they're proven guilty in the court of law. Any fines or proposed fines or anything like that are exactly that. They could be litigated, vacated, negotiated downward or upward or anything else. So when we share a report, especially from government action, it could be any of the above. So that's what's going on. I tell you what, we're going to share a couple of other things going on here. In the local area. So, now I got a lot of comments on the video yesterday from the synagogue, right? We had a synagogue in our neighborhood burned down yesterday. And, there people are like, well, and it's all in the social media and the blogosphere and everything else. Who did this? Why did it happen? And everything else. Well, this area was under construction, and it's very common. When I'm reading these accident reports on these local accidents, that there was a fire in a location, right? And the location was under construction. And, right, so this was from today, right? And we're having a lot of issues here. We have a very large Hasidic community, also known as ultra-Orthodox community here in the Rockland County and Orange County area here. They've set up, that's controversial. That's all I'll leave it. There's a lot of controversy involved with them. Within the community, without the community, we also have a lot of issues going on here with protests since with the October 7th war in Israel and the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. We have all this stuff going on here. We get all these protests. So there's a lot of issues going on with anti-Semitism and potential anti-Semitism and everything else. And that hasn't been proven yet with this. Right. Was this an accident? Yeah, probably just, no, I don't want to say just an accident, nothing malicious here, but the specter goes on. So, for example, in Columbia University in New York, they have major issues with protesters today. We've had every Sunday afternoon on Route 59 going through Rockland County, we have protests either for or against the war going on over there. And it's a concern. It's a concern of me. Of me personally here, because it's my community and I want everybody to get along and everything else. If you want to have spirited discussions, great. That's great. That's what democracy is all about. But advocating any type of violence or anything like that is an issue. So This is from lowhud.com. This was from yesterday afternoon originally, and then they updated it very early this afternoon or early this morning. According to the fire officials, the fire broke out around 5:30 a.m. In Pomona, New York, not Pomona, New Jersey. You Stockton University people out there, I know you're out there, and I know you're listening. By the way, that's where I went to undergrad school. Then it was Stockton State College. According to the area did have permits, right? The construction job there did have commits, and they had this was a home that was being converted into a synagogue, according to news reports in the popular press. This was a beautiful house, by the way, or synagogue that burned down. They took a couple of hours to get there, and our video yesterday showed 90% building collapse, and no, bad things going on here. So, I hope the community does recover, and if and they find out what's going on, how to get to the bottom of this. One thing that I did not see here was that OSHA. It's not saying anything about OSHA being on site, and this was a construction site, right? And there was a fire there, potential anti-Semitism, right? Was this a hate crime potentially? Why, no, why weren't there other authorities there, or are there other authorities there and they're not, and they are not sharing that information? But anyway, that's what's going on there. Now, I mentioned yesterday we discussed the Nike track and field uniforms for women. And again, I got some comments on that. That's my opinion. I mean, it's the women are given a choice on what uniform they want to wear, but the fact that when they showcase the new uniforms and the proposed uniforms for the Olympics this year, that was the one the one that's not safe for work, that would hit all the what do you call it? When that would hit get all the attention. That's kind of disconcerting. Again, this is 2024. Why would they? No, the track. These are athletes. This is more or less their workplace. Why would they present that kind of a uniform? Yes, they have choices, and I'm sure some women will wear them. And okay, I get it, but it's just a little bit disconcerting there. With me, that they would propose that. A little bit creepy, to be honest with you. Now, new news. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Now, in the regular press, we're going to get to. Let's talk about money here. We haven't spoken about money recently. Dow Jones Industrial Average at 37,775.38. It's up. S&P 500 down slightly. NASDAQ down slightly. 15,601.50. Russell 2000 at 1952. U.S. 10-year Treasury note is at 4.638. Gold. I don't know if this is a high or not. 23.94 for gold. It hit this week. Gold was at on the 16th at 12:55 p.m. It was at 24.14. So again, another record high. Crude oil at 82.61. And what else do we have here? Hold on. Gold at 23. Bitcoin 63,500, down slightly. And that's what we got there on the precious metals markets. We have gold, right, 23.90, silver 28.39, platinum 950, and palladium 1,057.50. So things are, Gold and silver are up considerably, right? But it goes up and down. Remember, they trade those 6 days a week on that. Now, going into some of our other stories, let's take our first commercial break. We're there already. I take these when my voice needs them, and it needs them.
In the professional safety community, communication and planning are just a few keys to your program's success. The question many practitioners have is, where do I start? Dr. Jay Allen, the creator of the Safety FM platform and host of the Rated R Safety Show, has built a global foundation to help you along the way. Go to safetyfm.com and listen to some of the industry's best and most involved professionals, including Blaine Hoffman with the Safety Pro, Sam Goodman with the Hop Nerd, Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant, Jim Pozell with Safety Wars, Emily Elrod with Unapologetically Bold, and many others. As individuals, we can do great things, but as a team, we become amazing. Dial into safetyfm.com today and surround yourself with a powerful force of knowledge and support.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Pozell with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy.
Yes, I am your father, Jessica. It is Thursday, so let's go to our Thursday hop message. This is Safety Wars, broadcasting to our brothers and sisters in the occupied territory of behavior-based safety. Get out your secret decoder ring. Here is your nightly message.
Context drives behavior. Context drives behavior.
Right. So I was on the phone yesterday, and it just goes to show you what's going on out there with a lot of stuff. So the great Jay Allen had mentioned, that probably, I believe he said this on the podcast, but on one of his programs, Rated R Safety Show, or it might have been the Safety FM Mini, or one of those, that now for human organizational performance, like 75% of the people involved in safety in some form or some fashion have never heard of it. I was having a conversation with one of my, I have, and you can schedule at safetywars.com, talk to Jim Pozell for 15 minutes for free. Right. With that. And we talk, that's for new clients, or if you're interested in becoming a client or anything like that, you're able to schedule up to 15 minutes for free with me. Now, we were on one of these calls, and I had known this person for many years. I'm very involved in safety, very focused on safety. And she said, well, it was a lot of this stuff. We talked a little bit about HOP. I didn't call it that. And she was like, it's almost as if she never heard of it with that, or wasn't too familiar with it, or not that I'd never heard it, that wasn't too familiar. And I ended up discussing it a little bit. And what happens is, in the behavior-based safety world, you have folks out there that it becomes a very antagonistic system very quickly. When you're measuring things like total recordable incident rate, and if was one of them, DART rate, any of these other things, right? What if you're measuring something, then it becomes easy to manipulate things. Well, what do you mean, Jim? Well, it becomes easy to manipulate things. So you want to manipulate statistics. This is the way, that one way that that's one of the statistics that gets manipulated, because that's what a lot of clients use, about GCs, municipal clients, federal clients. use the TRIR to judge how safe of a company you are. And there's a lot of shortcomings in that statistic. So, for example, a broken arm is treated the same as a one suture laceration, right? With that. So there's no severity index built in there. And often if you are above whatever TRIR they're looking for in a contract, it's usually either 2 or 3. If you're above that, now you have to explain, well, hey, I'm above it because we had a whole bunch of little injuries here. Now what happens is, and you can communicate verbally, you can communicate in writing, you can also communicate with body language. If you ever want to see body language and know where it goes for, you look at get out the old movie Goodfellas, and they have a scene in there with Joe Pesci and I forget the other guy's name. With Joe Pesci and another gang person who's a gangster. Hey, what am I? Funny? I'm funny? No, I'm funny? You mean funny like a clown? Right? And then you see his body language, and you can see what gets communicated with body language. Same thing goes for these statistics. So you're a manager. Now, you're not going to get a job where your job on your future work is in jeopardy. No, it's 100% in jeopardy because you're of some statistic. It's like, man, can you imagine? Oh, man, we have to go through this and explain this again. And then what happens? You're a worker. It's like, man, see the way he reacted? That must be real bad that we had an accident here. So you know what? We're not going to worry about that accident here. We're not going to report accidents. We're going to put things under the rugs. Now, if you're a general contractor and you start that thing where you make a big deal out of this stuff, again, one of the principles of human organizational performance, your reaction to failure matters. If you go out and you're screaming and yelling and cursing and everything else, that somebody, a subcontractor of yours, a contractor of yours got hurt, what do you think they're going to do? They're not going to report it. They're not going to report it. That means they're probably not going to investigate it. They don't want a paper trail. So what they end up doing is there's a statute of limitations that, right? An employee cannot easily sue their employer for an accident. So what they do is they get workers' comp or something. And then about 2 or 3 weeks before the statute of limitation runs out, usually 2 years, right? I'm not an attorney. You got to check what the statute of limitations is where you are. Then they come up to you with a lawsuit. And one of my clients, before they adopted HOP, this would happen where they would have a company that would have an issue and everything else, not report it, and then they get whacked with a summons. Now, all of a sudden, Jimmy, I got a phone call. Jimmy, did you investigate this? No, didn't investigate anything. Oh, now we got a problem. So first time I'm hearing about this accident. There was no accident there. Oh, you didn't report it, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes in again and again and again where they reported a workers' comp, not to you. It's documented. It's this and that. Now, before you know it, you're getting sued. And they went through this again and again and again. What ended up doing was adopting. They didn't go to me for HOP training. They went to one of my competitors. And what they ended up doing was, hey, you gotta stop acting like a jerk to these people. Have them report it. Now, again, if you know, it's like that old thing. No, you're going nuts on the inside, but on your surface, you're like, oh, okay, well, what's the big deal here? And if you don't act like a maniac, and if you treat people with some respect, you do an honest investigation, and you don't blame the worker for everything, guess what? You get more information. You could avert this. The other thing is, there in the oil industry, this is what I learned. If you treat people nicely, you're less likely to get sued. That's the way it is. So anyway, that's the lesson on that. But going back we teach HOP here, human organizational performance. Do we deal with behavior-based safety? Yeah, because we're not going to get away from behavior-based safety and collecting all those statistics because getting away from all these statistics because there's regulations that require us to do this. There's contracts that require this. Companies spend millions, at this point, billions of dollars on all this stuff. They're not going to get rid of it. And the other thing is this: longevity. All right. Longevity. HOP is still 25 years, about 25 years, right? Maybe a little bit longer. Guess what? Behavior-based safety and the bad apple theory, we're going back generations at this point. We're on 3 generations. It's going to be kind of hard to get away from that. It's sort of like people that say, well, how hard is it? And what I tell people, have you ever taught someone an adult, how to tie a knot? They say, well, Jim, what kind of knot? Doesn't matter. It could be a bowling knot. It could be a figure 8 loop knot. It can be a figure 8 knot, a half hitch, whatever. Ever teach them how to square knot? They say, no, not really. I said, let me explain to you what happens. You're going to have who teaches you knots? A scout leader, a father, a brother, a parent, right? Teaches you knots. This is what you're taught. Now you're asked, and you're telling people, especially with fall protection, you don't want to use the bowline knot. You want to use the figure 8 loop knot, or better yet, go to a off-the-shelf system to if you had to rig with rope. Because you want to use the bowline knot, it's 33.5% off the strength of the rope, right? The tensile strength of the rope. And while versus another knot like a figure 8 loop knot is only 25% off the strength of the rope. So you don't want to use the bowline knot. Guess what? They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. You could take a book, done it already, been through this already, and show them in the book what the proper knot to use for a certain application. They're like, well, hey, that's not what my scoutmaster said to use when I'm 45 years ago. Not going to happen. Or if they're a tradesperson, like an iron worker who does iron workers do a lot of stuff with rigging and cranes. They have to go through a whole schooling on knot. Well, guess what? If you say with fall protection, you want to use this certain knot because it's better knot because of X, Y, and Z, there's a good chance that they're not going to accept it. So what do you end up so then you say, well, you can't do that. You get adversarial. You got to build up a rapport with people. You got to build up nice things so they'll tell you stuff so you can get along. Who wants to be in a toxic workplace? Very few people. Some people thrive with a toxic workplace. And, just the way it is. Here. Hold on. Came across an article here that we're not going to show, but it's actually a really good article. Here. All right. Going on. All right, let's go on over to our ocean news. We're going to do a share screen here. Next week, we are having a major upgrade here. So next week, hopefully you're not going to get a delay here. Okay, hey, it worked. I can't believe it. All right. This is the Ocean News Releases pages from April 2024. And U.S. Department of Labor to honor workers whose jobs claimed their lives. When the nation's first observed Workers' Memorial Day on April 28, 1970, that's 10 days away from now, an estimated 38 U.S. workers suffered a fatal on-the-job injury each day, and many more endured debilitating respiratory diseases. So now they're admitting that and other life-altering things. How much? The estimates are between 50,000 and 120,000. Very difficult to prove. Today, work-related injuries in the U.S. claim about 15 people's lives a day. In 2022, 5,486 workers suffered fatal injuries, an increase of 296 worker deaths from 2021. That is all based, we'll go into what that's based on in a minute with the next article. And so now is, they have a whole week, I think we discuss this of events coming up next week. My question is this. I'm going to encourage everybody to go out there and next week, whatever your weekly safety meeting is, or maybe if you want to host an event or something like that, to go and do it. Make a lunch out, make a coffee, something cheap. Nobody wants to cheap coffee, maybe before work, maybe after work, maybe over lunch, or you talk or during the day. OSHA also has, and we're looking here, of events. So in New Jersey, what is going on? Pardon me. Not a darn thing is going on in New Jersey. In New York, what's going on? You have a couple events around the state. Catholic churches, Catholic masses throughout the state. And let's see what's going on. Not all states have something. In California, you have an event going on the Port of Oakland. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Be the leader, having a little event here where you discuss this stuff, because it's important here, because with that, and if you want, you have to do an introduction to OSHA, if you could do that. This is from April 15. The U.S. Department of Labor cites a South Florida contractor for lack of a heat illness prevention program. So the guy arrived from Mexico to South Florida in September 2023, but he started a job on a sugarcane farm in Belglade. 4 days later, he suffered a fatal heat-related injury. He was hired under the federal H-2A program for temporary and seasonal non-immigrant workers. And let's see, $27,000 in fines. So again, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. And again, there's vacated, negotiated, litigated, all the kinds of stuff that go on. So OSHA's heat stress standard was not in effect here, because as before the heat standard was proposed. So this was a general duty clause violation. And basically, on or about, and we know what general duty clause is. And as a reminder, there are 4 things that have to be met as a general duty clause violation. Number 1, the employer failed to keep the workplace free from a recognized hazard, and then employees were exposed to that hazard. The hazard was recognized. Number 3, the hazard was causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm. Yeah, that happened here. And number 4, there was a feasible and useful method to correct the hazard. And basically, among methods, a feasible and acceptable method of abatement includes, but is not limited to, establishing a heat stress management program that incorporates guidelines from OSHA and NIOSH. And they list 6 different things that they could have, actually 8 different things that could have been done. So, and it's all standard stuff to acclimate that. All relatively cheap, $16,131. That was a serious violation. Citation 2, item 1A, other than serious, $11,524. The employer did not report within 24 hours a work-related incident resulting in inpatient hospitalization, amputation, or loss of an eye. Right? Another $11,524. And those are, and number 3, item 2, citation 2, item 1B. They did not report within 8 hours the death of an employee from a work-related incident. And That was $0 for a grand total of $27,655 in proposed citations and fines. Again, heat stress. We're going to be talking about that in the very near future here. Federal safety inspections at a Kansas construction contractor, again, failing to protect workers from potentially deadly falls at Missouri home sites. So this sounds like a mobile crew. So there were 3 employees of a... Wow, I didn't know there's a company, there's a town named Peculiar, Missouri. Wow, I gotta look that one up. Hold on. That piques my interest. Peculiar, Missouri. What do we got here? City of Peculiar. All right, is this coming out across the stream? Yeah. Here you go. Well, it's a government website. I could show it. News and announcements. How big is Peculiar? They're having a tailgate festival coming up, and it sounds like a very small town. Let me get the Wikipedia on it, and let's see what we got. What's the population here? Okay, it's in Kansas County, Missouri. It's part of the Kansas City metro area. Okay, total population 5,621 people. Right, the small town outside there. So, bottom line is this: you had a worker from fall hazards. Now, we can do this from time immemorial here. I don't really get it. Well, I do get it. What it is often that these are day laborers, lower end of the spectrum as far as pay, and they may be temporary, and people, the companies don't want to invest in the equipment or time or anything to train people properly. And that's basically it. So let's see what happened here. 3 employees of a company were doing framework without required fall and eye protection. The agency initiated inspections under the National Emphasis Program for Falls and Regional Emphasis Program for Falls, scaffolds, and electrocutions from overhead power lines. OSHA inspectors cited the company for 6 instance-by-instance repeat violations for lack of fall protection and 2 repeat violations for not providing workers using powered nail guns, eye and face protection. $233,210. Here, let's see what we got here. So 1926, 102, no eye protection or face protection when they were using nail guns, right? Either pneumatic nail guns. 10,141. How much does a pair of safety glasses cost? You can get them in bulk. You can get them for around $250 a pair. You prevent one eye injury, and one eye injury is $30,000. Here we have a fine of $10,000. I kind of hard for me to figure out the cost benefit analysis on that one. Citation 1, item 2, repeat violations. So they had done this before. No fall protection, 6 feet or higher, $35,488 here because it was a repeat violation. Okay. Citation 1, item 3. Again, a repeat violation, 6 feet or higher. No fall protection, $35,488. And the same one, 3. They got it instance by instance, 35. So from 3 employees not wearing fall protection or using it for whatever reason, $35,488 per occurrence. That's a lot of bling there. So for a grand total of $116,000. But there's more. They visited them again, right, on another site. And what did they get them on that? So the second inspection was October 18th of last year. The first inspection was on, same thing, October 18th of last year. So they got him at 2 sites on the same day, it looks like. Citation 1, item 1, repeat series violation. Again, no eye protection. Citation 1, item 2, fall protection 6 feet or higher. Item 3, fall protection 6 feet or higher. Next one, same deal. $35,488 for a grand total of $116,605. So they got 2 sites here apparently on 2 occasions. The inspection site was in Peculiar, Missouri on one of them, and the other one was on, hold on here. The other one was on Blue Springs, Missouri. So they hit them in 2 states on the same day. Wow. I don't know. It sounds to me like they're saying that they were doing this under the emphasis program. It sounds like someone dropped dime on them, to be honest with you. Drop dime means, now that's a reference to, there used to be a thing called a payphone, and the phone calls are a dime back before the 1980s. And drop dime means that you made a phone call from a payphone, so it's anonymous, right? So they can't track it. It's so easy. Okay, going over to the U.S. Department of Labor press releases here. U.S. Department of Labor recovers $447,000 in back wages for 60 grocery workers denied overtime by a Kern County employer in Sacramento. So the employer withheld overtime. And it was, so the $223,976 in unpaid overtime wages and an equal amount in liquidated damages, right? So when the Department of Labor fines you, it's half, right? And then you have it by 2. And then an additional $24,000 in because it was willful violations. Got to pay your people. I don't know what to tell you. U.S. Department of Labor finds employee fatally injured after manufacturer failed to protect her from caught between struck by hazards. This is out of Franklin, Ohio, a fatality in October 2023. There were 10 instance by instance citations issued here. And letter was 410. Inspection was over the course of from 10/14/2023 to 4/2/2024. Citation 1, item 1, lockout tagout. No inspection or anything else, 16,131. Citation 1, item 2, lockout tagout again. Training, right? One was developing procedures not done, one was training. 16,131. Citation 1, item 3, lockout tagout. Training again. 16,131. Citation 1, item 4, 16,131. And it was the training, training. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. Citation 1, item 5, training again. This is all the same. Another 16,131. Citation 1, item 6, training again. 16,131. Citation 1, item 7, training again. They just kept racking them up. Citation 1, item 8, training again. We'll count them up at the end of the thing. Number 9, no training. Citation 10, no training. Citation 11, no training. And number 12, no retraining, right? So it's not enough to train people, right? You put them through a training class. They have to walk away with something. So often what happens is the compliance officers say, hey, you're wearing a respirator? Yeah, I'm wearing a respirator. Okay, why are you wearing a respirator? They can't answer it. Guess what? Ineffective training. That's why if you're a training provider, you had to make darn sure that you have a test, a quiz. Back in the day, I used to have video. Every training class was on video with some clients because the clients' personnel did not, what's the word I'm looking for? They did not retain any information. So, and right now, who has fake OSHA 30 cards in the New York City area and who doesn't. And it sort of like goes like this. Fall protection, 6 feet or higher, like we just with this roofing company out there we were talking about in construction. And you get a response like, since when is it 6 foot? About 30, coming up on 30 years. In 2028. So like 27 years. You didn't get the memo? Really? Well, first time I'm ever hearing about this. Are you OSHA 30-hour outreach trained for construction? It says here in the paperwork you are. You have the card. Well, they didn't talk about fall protection there. It's a required 3-hour mandatory, something like that, for fall protection on the 30-hour course. Hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, something like that on the 10-hour course. First time you heard of it? Yeah, well, then that's when you write a note to their boss that, hey, whoever gave me the training, it didn't stick, and you can't answer simple questions. Citation 1, item 14 was guarding, and that was 16,131. Citation 2, item 1, a repeat violation. The procedures for lockout tagout shall clearly and specifically outline the scope, purpose, authorization, rules, and techniques to be utilized for the control of hazardous energy. All right. There's another one. Hold on. Again, no training on that. 88,721. That's a big one. Citation 3, item 1. Inspections of the lockout tagout system and the equipment not done. All right, that was 0. So here we have basically 14 citations are basically the same, 16,131 for a grand total of proposed penalties of $314,555. I don't know what to tell you on this one. Right, I get people that laugh. Jim, you always say that. Yeah, I don't know. Just don't know. Can't get it. Remarks by Acting Secretary Sue announcing a final rule to reduce minors' exposure to silica dust and improve the health of nation's minors. This is from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Acting Secretary Julie Sue today made the following remarks during an announcement of the department's issuance of a final rule by its MSHA, Mine Safety and Health Administration. Thank you so much, Dave. You know what? Let's see if I can get a transcript here, video here. Hold on. We're going to be back in a minute here. Bear with me here. Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Have you listened or watched the Safety War Show? It does stream live on the radio and on the streamer-emers that we have. So if you have not taken a listen to Jim Posel and what the hell he's doing every evening with Safety Wars, I would strongly encourage you to take a view or take a listen, whichever option is available for you, and take a listen to what the hell he has going on. It will take some deep dives and some information that you might be interested in.
All right, there is no audio or video available for this. Acting Secretary Sue made the following remarks. Thank you so much, Dave. And I know who Dave is, for sharing your story today. It's great to be in Uniontown, and I want to thank the United Mine Workers District too. And she goes on with some other stuff here. No shout outs and everything else, the normal stuff. Stories we hear today from folks like Gary represent just a small fraction of miners who have had their lives upended by silica dust. In Central Appalachia, an estimated 1 in 5 long-tenured coal miners have black lung disease. That's 1 in 5 who struggle to get through a phone call or a podcast episode or play with their grandkids without losing their breath. 1 in 5 whose life expectancy is cut down by an average of 12 years. 1 in 5 forced to carry this irreversible disease. And as the trends are going in the wrong directions, doctors are diagnosing and treating more miners with black lung and other respiratory diseases than ever before at younger and younger ages. For too long, we accept this as the way things are for people who work in mines. They've had to work without the same protections from silica dust that people in other industries have, even though we've known about harmless silica dust since Francis Perkins was in Secretary of Labor. Not on our watch. President Biden put this rule on his regulatory agenda from day one of his administration. And so there is some movement here on regulations. We have 270, they're hiring 270 new inspectors after the cuts in the last administration to keep miners healthy and safe. In addition to our regular inspections across the country, we're conducting monthly impact inspections at higher mines, and it goes on and on and on and on. So it's a major issue here. I've been hearing about mine stuff for an awful long time. Let's see if they have any other news releases here. That's all that we have. That's all I'm really going to say. Let's go to some of the, we talked about the Key Bridge Response 2024. This is from Key Bridge Response 2024. This is a government website here, and they have some pretty nice graphics. Let me see if I could zoom in a little bit more for you folks viewing at home. So here we have milestones. There's a temporary alternate channel east and west. Nice picture, a nice graphic here. So here we have two channels, one on one side of the bridge, one on the other side. One's from Hawkins Point and one from Sollers Point. Right? There's a limited deep draft access channel here with that. They're looking to still clear that stuff up. We went through some videos. And what's their goal here is restore the full depth and width of the federal channel. This will allow for resumption of pre-collapse traffic patterns in and out of Baltimore. And for wreckage and debris removal, we saw them on videos yesterday. With that, you can check back at the website. So they do have two channels open, one on either side of the collapse span on here. Right. So they have Sollers Point on the other one. That is for temporary access, small draft vessels. And they are looking right where, if you can find where they see where I'm highlighting, you're going to see a little thing here, right? So something that I find incredible. They have not issued any news releases, probably because the issue attention cycle were sort of like at the end of it here until they start the rebuild here, anything major here. Let's do stop the share before I get a copyright infringement somewhere. That's all I got here. We're at 8:51. Let's see if we have some other stories that we could discuss here. Right. So we're not using the other service for now, where we had everything with the national news people coming in. We had some issues there. Some stuff came up. Come on, you can do it. I hate when the computer doesn't do what it's supposed to. All right. So some other news going on here. Let's not get too controversial here. Foreign holdings of U.S. Treasury notes hit a record high. Right, foreign holdings of U.S. Treasury surged to a record in February, its fifth straight monthly rise. Holdings totaled $7.965 trillion. A lot of treasuries held by foreign countries from the United States. Cannot continue with the debt, my friends. Ecuador introduces a 3-day working week as it launches an investigation into energy shortages. Ecuador has ordered public and private sector workers to take Thursday and Friday off to save energy due to unprecedented power outages. Why don't we send them solar panels? I thought that's going to solve everything. They're saying a drought triggered by El Nino weather patterns, with Ecuador and other Andean nations heavily reliant on hydroelectric dams harnessing mountain water runoff. So not enough water to run the hydroelectric dams. 3-day work week would be nice. We are 100 days to go, right, until the Olympics. So locals are not too happy about it. They're going to have a scaled down Olympic Games, allegedly because of some of the events, because they're fearing terrorist attacks. A poll last one showed only over a third of French felt enthusiastic about the global sporting event that will start on July 26th. I'm saving my money for when it's in LA, man. And with the in a couple of years, and with the countdown switching to 100 days, many in Paris said they would leave the city if they could or work from home, staying away from sporting events. So people are not too happy there in Paris. Some people are very happy because they're going to make money off of this, right? So with all the stuff going on in Israel over the weekend here, this was the latest thing. This is from Associated Press. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel would decide whether and how to respond to Iran's major air assault earlier this week. Florida shut off calls for restraint from close allies. I don't know. What do you do? I do know this. It might have been a hoax, but it came across one of the forums today about it sounded like a radio transmission from a tabletop exercise for nuclear attack in the Northeast. They were pointing it off as a real attack and something going on with bombers and everything. We'll try to find out more about that. But what are you doing to prep? Right? The official policy, and to my knowledge, it hasn't changed. So we're supposed to be prepared for 3 10-kiloton explosions, nuclear explosions on the same day. That's what FEMA's telling us they're prepared for. What about if a tactical nuclear weapon goes off, a big one, 1 megaton? Not so much you can do about that, right? Widespread area, but what? No, you don't know what you're going to be involved in. So what? No. So what do you know? My question: what do you know? What are you going to do with this stuff? Okay. So here we talk about population demographics. Not enough people having enough baby to secure the economy, to make sure we have a growing economy and everything else. Now, this is from the Daily Mail today. Oracle of Wall Street, who predicted a 2008 financial crash, says Rise in young sexless men living with their parents will cause housing prices to plunge 30%. The analysts predict the housing supply will ramp up as the elderly relocate. Meanwhile, men disinterested in families will cause demand to fall. Single women now make up an increasing proportion of American home buyers. All right, and this all comes from Meredith Whitney. Again, demographics. Not enough people making enough children, not right with this. Economic woes here. Anybody think this stuff out before they proposed it back in the 60s? Probably not. And, societal issues. So that's all we got for tonight. We're going to go to our regular outro today. And we will, God willing, be back here tomorrow on the air. We'll see what happens. And that's what's going on. So see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.